Okay, hello Edward. This is Osan Alper Pehlivan, but my nickname is Zangar, so that would be easier for you. Zangar from Hero Concept. I'm a community and marketing manager for Hero Concept. I live in Turkey. We are a game studio in Istanbul, Turkey's most crowded city. I mean, Europe's most crowded city. I presume you know about Istanbul. Well, currently we are developing Mayhem Brawler, and we had two games before Mayhem Brawler, just the Dolphins franchise, Dolphins Invasion, and Dolphins Arcade. So I think that's all I have to say about myself. I'm just the community monkey of the company.
Okay, well, you have told us who you are, so that's all good. So, in a nutshell, what type of game is Mayhem Brawler?
Well, Mayhem Brawler is beat 'em up game, just like the. I think you could catch the arcade era. I mean, we are barely catching the arcade era by our ages, the times we born. Like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Final Fight, Captain Commando, and the other side-scrolling three-person beating everybody games that called beat 'em ups. So Mayhem Brawler is a take back to 90s beat 'em ups. I mean, we are all lovers of arcades, and our captain Sarkanozai created a universe called Mayhem, so that is the first game of the Mayhem universe, and we are doing a urban fantasy themed 90s arcade beat 'em up. So that's what I call Mayhem Brawler, and it's on superheroes.
So it's like a follow-up on the other games you guys made.
No, totally not. Our other games, our Duel Links series, are about invasion and a pandemic on a Duel Link universe, and they were just like kind of respects to the Brick Breaker and Space Invaders games, like the oldest games in gaming history. So, like I said earlier, we are lovers of arcade games, so that's why we are still following the arcade era. Mayhem is the first game of Mayhem Universe.
Okay, so there will be multiple games later.
We hope, and we plan.
Awesome. What inspired you to make Mayhem Brawler?
Well, what inspired us to make Mayhem Brawler? A great question. Like I told you earlier, the Final Fight, the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, the original Streets of Rage series, like 1, 2, and 3, Double Dragon, which was our captain's favorite. Let's see. On my perspective, that's not an inspiration for Mayhem Brawler, but one of the reasons I love the genre this much, Mother Russia Bleeds. And I can say those are all. Yeah, our captain grew up with beat 'em up games, and we love beat 'em ups, so this happened.
What makes this game different from others?
Different from other beat 'em ups?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what makes Mayhem Brawler unique is kind of, first of all, superhero powers. Our all characters are superheroes who belongs to a precinct called Stronghold. Are all characters from Stronghold, and they are chosen super mutants, superheroes, super mutants slash superheroes, and so they have powers according to our types. We have 3 types in playable in current. 1, powerhouse, 2, telekinetic, and 3, living weapon. And they all have their own unique superpowers. One of them is this, and second, blocking mechanism. Not in many beat 'em ups we see characters being able to block, but in our game, they are. Being able to use firearms. I mean, there are a few examples of that, yes. I mean, like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, if I remember right. And in Mother Russia Bleeds, firearms weren't usable, but they were throwable. But you can use fully functionally firearms in this beat 'em up game. And also, we have many, but many character types. I mean, as enemies, because in terms of enemies, brawler games, also beat 'em ups, are called brawlers. Brawler games just have 2 or 3 types of enemies beside bosses, but we really have a lot of enemies under that catalog, and you will see when the game comes out. And another great feature, our game is a choices matter game. Well, not so big like Detroit Become Human or other Quantic Dream products, but more than a lot of games. I mean, we have 3 different endings according to your choices. And our game has a comic book style, so every choice you make unlocks another comic book level, so you jump into that level. And also, music of Mayhem Brawler is made by a Hollywood artist, Mr. Emir Marzeci. He's the composer of Celine Dion. So, those are all the main steps. We have smaller steps too, like being able to lift and throw barrels and crates, characters being able to lift and throw different things, and also our bosses cooperating with us sometimes. So, that's all I can say about this question.
Okay. So you have like multiple type of endings. Does that mean that if you want to see everything of the game, you have to play it 3 or more times?
3 or more, we shall say. But you can take the saves if you can understand which consequence caused that. Because sometimes a choice you made on 3rd level can affect the ending, or 6th level, or just in the end. You can never know. Well, it's better to play with different choices every single time.
I understand. For how long have you guys been working on this project so far?
Yeah, Mayhem Brawler is kind of a 1.5 year old game in terms of developing.
When do you expect to release?
Well, we are planning it like the August, if nothing goes wrong. By August, game will be released, we hope.
So that's less than 2 years, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
What game engine are you using, and why did you decide to use this engine?
Well, I'm not a developer, but I know the answer to this question. We are using a highly customized Unity engine. And they are using this engine because they're free on it, and they can create their own library, create their own terms, languages, and they are free on it. And this is the most professional engine that you can develop a beat 'em up in our developers' perspective.
Did you encounter setbacks during the project, and what did you learn from them?
Also another developer question, but I have to think about it. I mean, we got a little setback from the in the cutscenes section and voiceovers, I guess. I mean, they are planned to integrate and then not integrate. Also, yeah, I have to note this. I have to say this too. I mean, I forgot to mention about the voiceovers, but our game has full voiceovers right now, and this is the first time ever in a beat 'em up. I suppose. I mean, if there is another one that just lost my eye. But if I know it right, we are the first ever beat 'em up game who has full voiceovers for every single character in the game.
That's a lot of voices.
Oh, what?
That's a lot of voices.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that took a lot of workforce for our voice actors and our captain again on the story side. So one of our setbacks was about the voice acting times. We just decided to put them and not put them and put them again because that was also a thing of budget, you know. And since we are a low budget indie studio, we had to play our cards right for giving the end user the greatest beat 'em up they can ever play. I mean, we have put a lot of work into this. We learned from this not being scared of doing something when we think that should be done. And another setback. That's not a setback, but that let us just be late. I mean, some art decisions couldn't made on time, and we have made decisions later on. We have made additions to the current situations, and that can be also called a setback. But I think we don't have a really big setback. We are kind of a disciplinary team.
Well, it's good that you're disciplinary.
Thank you.
If you
Well,
get
thanks to our captain, because he's a dedicated man. I mean, he taught us how to be that disciplinary.
good leader, that's good. If you can advise a new or young indie game developer, what will you tell them?
Well, I can totally answer this question because Hero Concept is not my first game company or my only company that I'm helping right now. I'm full-time working in Hero Concept. Yes, Hero Concept is my everything, but I help the little game developers around in Turkey. I mean, in terms of little, really little, those are young guys. And also one kind of big-ish company. I'm advising them. Well, one of the things are you will encounter bugs and you will encounter problems. Never hesitate to fight with them, and never get scared that something bad will happen, because something bad will happen. Because that happens, I mean, just remember the Fallout 76 biggest mistake. I mean, a bug caused the source codes of game to delete itself. I mean, everything can happen. You are making a game. And also, they need to think open. Because, you know, every single game is developed over a GDD, which is a game design document, and things wouldn't go the way that you think at GDD. I mean, you want player to go right, but trust me, the player will go left. You have to think of it too.
Or the player will go straight forward.
Oh, what?
Or the player will go straight forward instead of right or left.
Yeah, but still, the player will do the thing that you least expect. So you have to keep everything in mind. I mean, while putting inputs or while designing levels, while looking at the smallest detail, when you are making a game, you just have to think like a player. And there are billions of types of players out there. I mean, some players play Skyrim without cheats.
They do.
Well, I'm not a cheater either, but who didn't wrote the code for carrying capacity in Skyrim?
I didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Well, I used to be a looter, so I had to carrying capacity cheat.
Yeah.
I looted everything in Skyrim.
By the time I thought of doing that, I had already finished the game, so I didn't care anymore. What do you think about the current marketing strategies in the indie game industry?
Well, I think indie game industry is living its golden age and will keep living its golden age for a while longer, because right now the marketing strategies are over the players instead of companies and billboards right now. I mean, yes, Cyberpunk did all the billboards and bus covers, but still, the times companies care about players is now. They really do care about players right now, and us marketeers, community managers, we are engaging with players more than ever. I mean, in the early 2000s, like you and I would remember, the game ticket systems, community supports weren't quarter as good as right now. You would remember that.
Yeah,
I mean, people just
really
wouldn't
hard
care.
to reach developers.
What?
It was really hard to reach developers.
Oh,
and now
yeah.
it's easier to
Oh,
get
yeah.
to them.
Oh yeah. By the Discord, that made me a lot of easier. But also, how can I say? I mean, also players are talking with developers on a daily basis right now, and that is awesome. You know, and in terms of marketing, that also does the marketing by itself. I mean, yes, we marketeers and community guys are, of course, important. But even if we don't exist, players can talk to developers by themselves right now. And that just creates a bond between, especially indie game developers and players. So, meme marketing strategies, Reddit, oh my god, Discord, that's just the golden age, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm so happy to be doing this right now. And like your Twitter account, I mean, you're doing a great job, and your account is very, very funny. I mean, I'm just looking, you are sharing funny things, you are sharing serious things. I'm just a lot of entertained just by looking at your account.
Thank you.
And it's also very much informative, besides being entertaining. So that's how I expect marketing to be. Informative but entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see the indie game market going in a few years?
AAAs are going down. Because, you know, big corporations are not getting creative enough nowadays. Indie developers and indie companies are taking over. And they should. And they will. Because big corporations still care about people will pay for microtransactions, open loot boxes, or just, you know, or political correctness or other things. They just want to market their unmarketable product. Well, I'm not saying I'm not playing any AAA titles. I do. I mean, especially I'm one of the big fans of Mortal Kombat, but still, if there would be a Mortal Kombat mechanics indie game, I would prefer that. Because that is more sincere. I mean, you can feel more compassion in that.
True.
That's just like a small patisserie and a big cake factory. A small patisserie is always more tasty. And sorry if I couldn't pronounce the word right.
Oh, that's fine. I could understand what you meant, so it's all
Yeah.
fine.
Cafe. Let's say cafe.
Did you learn game development education at school? So that would be more for your colleagues in your case, but or did everyone learn the whole process on their own?
Well, talking on behalf of my colleagues, I mean, they are educated in computer sciences, of course, but still they learned game development on their own, because in Turkey, game development schools are still not too popular, and sometimes people just don't see game development as a real job. Yes, we are still on this, and I hope those things will change in the near future. But yeah, we can call them self-educated, perfect individuals.
It's in a lot of countries where people are like, you make games, that's not a real job.
Yeah. That's just like being a comedian. I mean, they just laugh at comedians, but they're still, you're a comedian, oh my god, get a job.
Yeah, and at the same time, that comedian might pay more taxes than they do.
Yeah, totally.
And the final question, what is your favorite video game of all time and why?
Oh no. I mean, I have a billion answers. Are you really wanna do this?
Yes.
Well, okay, I have to answer era by era, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, my favorite arcade, well, not so arcade, but arcade era game is Doom. Doom 1 from 93. And because, you know, it is Doom. I mean,
great.
You cannot just explain it. Doom is Doom. People have to play it. I mean, that was the most inspirational game ever in terms of FPS games. And by far, my fighting game favorite is Mortal Kombat, which I have a tattoo of the Mortal Kombat's dragon, you know, in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in terms of RPGs, I would just stay in between of Baldur's Gate and Warcraft 2. Well, Warcraft 2 is not actually an RPG, but it's based on a very big RPG lore, so that's why I count it as an RPG. In terms of online games, I would say World of Warcraft. In terms of strategy games, I would say Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War. In terms of modern games, I don't know, that's a very, very unique answer, and you may have heard it for the first time ever, but I would say Warhammer 40k Dakka Squadron. That's an indie game made by an indie studio from the US. But yes, that's by far my favorite modern game, because that's too arcadey and, you know, Warhammer orc humor everywhere. And I'm a humorous guy, so...
Yeah, I had never heard of the game, but if you say it's good, it probably is.
It's perfect, man. And my Souls-like favorite is Sekiro. My steampunk favorite is, of course, Dishonored. My hack and slash favorite is Devil May Cry. And my FPS favorite is Insurgency. In terms of modern FPSs.
Okay.
And I put Ghost Runner above Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk was
Yeah, they're
pretty
nothing
cool.
alike, but in terms of being Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is pretty cool. I played
Yeah.
it too. Or at least part of it.
Well, Cyberpunk is cool, but Ghost Runner is cooler, trust me.
Okay. Yeah, we are out of questions. Is there other things you want to say?
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about people are going to like Mayhem Brawler, because they are going to like Mayhem Brawler. We are putting a lot of effort in this. I mean, of course we are having sometimes, of course we are getting bad reviews sometimes. I mean, bad foreshadows, not reviews. People are just saying, I mean, this game won't be good, and we ask why, they just can't answer, but sometimes we hear it too. But still, we trust the Mayhem Brawler a lot, people trust us a lot. We need to just get heard by a little bigger communities. All the beat 'em up world knows about us, but the gaming world, I'm not sure. Beat 'em up world, yes, they all know about us, and they expect us, and they like us. So, your community should check Mayhem Brawler, I guess, because it's a game that's worth checking, and it's a game that's worth their eyes. Because of the, you know, our beautiful comic art style and our rocking music, our mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's all I can say.
Yeah, all the links for that will be in the description below the video.
Thank you.
For YouTube.
Thank you. And also, thank you a lot for this interview, and I wish your community a great 2021, because 2020 was hard enough for everybody. I mean, let this be your year, while we are getting to end of the first quarter of the year. Let this be your year, guys.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you too, Edward.